All right, it's Marc-Andre Drollet and Joe Doerksen from CagePlay.com here. I just want to let everybody know that we have Joe here with an update coming back from Japan. How was training for this fight? Let's say you didn't really stop from the last fight. You came right into the training. Did that change the minute you knew who you were fighting?
Well, I fought August 29th in Calgary, and I had a fracture in my foot after that fight, so I had to take maybe 2 or 3 weeks to kind of let that heal up a little bit before getting back into it. I knew about this fight probably about 5 weeks before it happened, so I was starting to train, about 5-6 weeks out a little bit. I was moving around. The foot was not 100%, but I was doing some stuff. About 3 weeks before the fight happened, I knew for sure that I was fighting. I was going to go to Sengoku, and by that point, my foot had really healed up a lot better. So I was training at 100% about 3 weeks back. The plan was basically just not to throw a lot of kicks with my right foot. But honestly, by the time I got there, even a week before the fight, I started feeling really solid. So, there's 9 weeks in between the injury and the fight, and it was plenty of time to heal up. And I felt great. I was in great shape. Everything was fine. There was no problems at all.
Noticed your conditioning and hands looked really good in this fight. You spent a lot more time on that because of the foot injury, or?
That it kind of just worked out that way. We were worried about the foot. We didn't want to injure it in the gym, so we worked a lot of hand pads. I was training with Giuseppe Di Natale, my Muay Thai coach, and we really focused on the hands a lot for the last 4 weeks or so. Partly to save my feet, partly just we wanted to work on just head movement, footwork, that kind of thing. And I'm really glad we did it. I got a good chance in this fight to show some of my stand-up skills and stuff. So that worked out really well.
And who were your training partners for this fight? Giuseppe was your trainer, and maybe you get in the ring with him too?
Yeah, Giuseppe strapped on the gloves, a couple weeks before the fight. We did a couple of rounds of sparring, just hands again. Obviously we're trying to save the foot for the fight. That guy, he had an injury not too long ago, less than a year ago, a pretty serious one, and he was out for a while. And that guy's amazing. He just puts the gloves on after 10 months of being inactive, and we went 5 hard rounds like there was no big deal. He was pretty impressive. But yeah, I worked with him a little bit, some sparring, and Rodrigo and all of his students in the gym have been pushing me on the ground, and every now and then I sneak off and do a workout with Curtis Brigham. So I got a lot of good people here in Winnipeg to push me and help me out, and everything just went really good. Conditioning was great. I've been working over at McDowell's Performance Systems now since about February, and I'm at the point now where I'll never fight again without training there. It's 2 fights in a row now where it went long into the 3rd round, and we were working hard and feeling tired. But when I watched the videotape, you can't tell that I'm as tired as I felt like I was, which means I was in good shape. It means I was training hard, and they've really done really well for me out there. So I'm real happy with the way things are going right now.
Perfect. How about you had a bit of a hectic week leading into this fight? You flew to Calgary twice, to Japan. I think you were a little delayed. How kind of ordeal was that?
Well, it was kind of a short notice thing, so I had to get a work visa. I got some paperwork from Japan. I flew to Calgary the Thursday before the fight, about 9 days before the fight, to apply for a work visa. I filled out my paperwork, and then the girl says, okay, we'll have it ready in 5 days. Well, I had to leave for Japan in 4. I had to leave on Tuesday. And they said, well, the best we can do is have it ready for you here at 9 a.m. on Tuesday morning, which was in Calgary. So I had to fly back to Calgary on Tuesday and then leave for Japan on Wednesday instead. So it kind of the schedule got a little tight. And then Wednesday, we left for Japan. We got to Japan Thursday afternoon. So immediately after, we got off the plane, went to the hotel. I did some interviews and then put all my stuff and started cutting weight right away. So it was all very back to back, not a whole lot of time for sitting around. But, it all worked out, so, I can't really complain. I had to jump through some hoops to make it happen, but it worked out, so, no problem.
And you felt that during the fight then?
The travel to Japan is just tough because, the time difference is so big and you don't really have time to adjust. But to be honest, what I do is when I'm out there, if I'm not actually cutting weight or doing an interview or eating or whatever, then I'm just in bed. Whether I'm sleeping or not, I just stay in bed and make sure I get a lot of rest when I'm out there. So, by the time I'm fighting, it's about, well, maybe 6 o'clock in the evening out there, which is like 4 in the morning here. It's just weird. So you can't really adjust for that in 2 days. So I just make sure that when I don't have to be someplace, I'm in bed watching TV or sleeping or listening to music, whatever, making sure I get lots of rest. and I didn't sleep too good out there, but I was, I was in bed a lot of the time. So by the time I fought, I was fine. I felt just fine for the fight. Everything was good. A couple hours after the fight, it was hard to keep my eyes open. So no after party for me. I went out for a burger and went to bed.
So in a possibility of fighting in a tournament, you fought third. How was it watching the first fights? Did you get a chance to watch it? Did you have somebody watching those? Must be a little different going in.
It's tough to say with a tournament what's going to happen, and fighting more than once in a night is a tough thing to do at any in any case. But then at that level, you don't have any easy fights. But we were in the locker room warming up for my fight. I was fighting the 5th fight of the night, and the first 2 fights of the night were the tournament that I was supposedly on reserve for. So we were keeping a kind of an eye on those fights as we were warming up. It was pretty clear after those fights were over that the winners were in great shape. There was no injuries, so we knew that I wouldn't be fighting a second fight. By the time I fought, I already knew it was just going to be one fight that night. But in a situation like that, you can't worry about the second fight. You can't worry about the second fight until you get through the first one. If you're worried about the second fight, you're not going to do well in the first one. It doesn't do you any good to worry about it if you lose the first fight. So you just worry about the one fight, and you go out there and do the best you can, and do your best to win the fight. And afterwards, you go back to the locker room and assess your situation. Figure out if you're injured or not, and then decide if you can go on again. In this particular case, I knew pretty early on that I wasn't going to be needed for a second round, and it worked out pretty good because I had a pretty long, tough fight. And my eye, although it's healing up just fine today, at the time was swollen up pretty badly, and it impaired my vision a little bit. Chances are I would have fought again anyways, but it's probably best that I wasn't needed.
Perfect. So how did Sengoku, they talk to you about your performance? They were happy, I assume?
Yeah, I mean, the fans out there were great. They were really, keeping an eye on the fight, and they could tell that, they were happy. They were really great, and I was told by several different people involved in the organization they were happy with my fight. They felt that I was a really solid competitor, a technical fighter. The fight was an exciting one, and my opponent's not known for having exciting fights, so they were really happy with that. So it's pretty clear I'll be going back.
Perfect. So what's next for you, or when do we get to see you in the ring again, or cage?
Well, there's really nothing scheduled for sure right now. There's a possibility of doing something in December in the U.S., possibility of doing something a little closer to home in February, but it's all kind of just ideas right now. I'm back in the gym as of today. I started training this morning. So I'm hoping to fight again in December, and I'd like to fight once more before Christmas, and then maybe once after Christmas in February if that works out. Can't talk about it right now, but March is a possibility to go back to Japan. So it looks like I'll be busy most of the winter. I know Jeremy Horn has a fight in January. I'll probably spend a few weeks with him, after Christmas and New Year's, just go out there for a week or two, and probably go with him to Ireland for his fight. And, then I'll come back home and start training for my own. So I'm going to be pretty busy the next 3-4 months training for either my own fight or someone else's. And, I think that's good. I don't like winter much anyway, so I might as well be in the gym instead of looking out the window and staring at the snow and being depressed.
Perfect. And so where can we get all your updates? Keep following with all these news.
I'm trying to keep a blog going at Doerksen.com. I try to update at least once a week, sometimes every 2 weeks, depending on what's going on. If there's not much going on, I don't really have much to say. I don't bother posting anything new, but usually on average once a week you can go on there and see something new. And I'll be just talking about how training is going, where I'm fighting next, and that sort of thing. So hopefully soon we'll start putting up some videos, maybe some training tips, techniques, for cutting weight or training, whatever. Just to keep things interesting and try to have something fun up there for people to see.
Perfect. We appreciate your time, Joe.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.